We're moving on to Manchester United because, of course, they got the draw against Forest.
Big draw.
They may have felt they could have got all 3 points. I don't know. Devon joins us from America. Do you take the draw? Was it a good point, or are you feeling a bit disappointed with the result?
You know, I have to say, I think I'm more disappointed that we dropped 2 points in the way that we conceded those 2 goals. But you know what? It's a right clearance, and that's the only reason Roy's here not to win again. So, you know what? Maybe it's lucky for him.
You know, Devon, your audio's not great at the moment. Let's see if we can just tidy that up. But last week, obviously, after the 3-game run, lots of Man United fans are saying we're back. This week, they're saying kind of we're backish. We're kind of back. But I think it's a really, really good point, because I think it's a year now under Ruben Amorim. I think it's his anniversary. I think a few months ago, you would have lost that game. No doubt you would have lost that game. But to come back and grab a point is actually a real positive, given the circumstances. And look, we got the goals.
I completely agree. It's you go back maybe even before the Brentford game, and we go down like that. It's we probably were not coming back, but to see the mentality changing is something that I am very, very impressed about. And I'm looking at every 5 matches in a row now, and you're seeing slowly but surely the progression as it's going. And I'm definitely excited to see what the team can do. The only concern that I have is AFCON. But we'll see though.
Yeah, we've just seen the goals here, and I mean, we're at 2-1, Devon. How are you feeling? You thinking, same old Man United?
Before Liverpool, I would have said yes, but it was like, you know what? Let's see what happens. And even going into the match, I was expecting more of a performance, because we all saw Dyche's comments about Amorim when Dyche was still a pundit. So I was expecting the team to have a response for that. And it was like, you know, I just got to keep fighting, And we're starting to see it from the team, slowly but surely.
The United Strand fan who's been making news all around the world, of course, you're laughing. He said that he cut his hair when your team got 5 straight wins on the bounce. How do you categorise a draw? Is that still part of the run? Does he start from 0? No.
No, you can't move the goalpost like that. He said 5 wins in a row, so it's it's got to be 5 wins in a row, and I don't think we're going to get that in our next 5 fixtures, to be realistic. So I hope he has I feel bad for his barber that he's missing out on that business, but you know what?
But very quickly, the question we've been asking people at home is, who's going to challenge Arsenal to the title? Because Leroy thinks it's theirs to lose. Somehow, our producer put Manchester United in the mix there. Ridiculous. Do you think your team can actually challenge them?
No.
It goes along with what I said the last time I was on the show, that I still think 4th to 5th is very possible for this team. And I know that you all thought that I was crazy for that. You even said last week I'm still crazy for that prediction. That's what I'm sticking by. If it's going for the only one I think that can challenge for Arsenal, I'm going to take it to this. It's going to be Man City. Haaland is just in incredible form right now, and I don't see anybody stopping him.
No. I mean, I did look, firstly, Man United aren't going to challenge anyway. But 4th to 5th, I had Devon start the season. I had Man United down in 6th. Where did you have them, Anita? Where did you have Man United to finish start of the season? Do you remember? Bottom half? Was it bottom half of the table?
I honestly don't remember.
I think it was bottom half for Anita. It was bottom half. I had them down for 6th. And I think if they finish 6th for United, for where they were, that would be a good season. Another year, do you want to see Amorim in place in a year's time? And if you do, where will you expect to see United in a year's time? Is Amorim still in charge?
I actually think if we continue with the progression that we're going, that we need to be 1 to 3. I think a missing piece to this could potentially be a guy who had a great audition on the weekend in Anderson. He was everywhere in that match. And I have to say I was thoroughly impressed by him. So if we get him, I really think that top 3 is possible.
Devon, thank you as always for joining us. Just for clarity at home, Manchester United 8th in the table, 8 points off Arsenal, who are top of the table, yet somehow we're talking about them challenging for the title.
Bye, Devon. Bye,
We gotta go, sorry.
Bye, Devon.
It's a wrap. He's not having a good time at home, but we'll get into that later in the show. We've got to talk about Nottingham Forest, and Scott joins us from Australia now, of course, because Sean Dyche got a much-needed point at home, his first point in the league as the Forest manager. Oh, obviously, I'm sorry, Scott, I got distracted there. I remembered you're in Australia. So what time is it out there, first of all?
I'm back in the UK at the moment. I'm calling you from Plymouth in the UK.
Oh, we were worried. We thought your love for your team had you up at the wee hours of the morning. Anyway, welcome back to the UK. Great to have you here. Are you planning to see Nottingham Forest during your time here?
I am, yeah, probably after the international break, sometime between now and Christmas.
OK.
How are you finding it under Sean Dyche, Scott? I mean, obviously, it's been what, turmoil up, you know, qualifying for Europe.
Toxic relationship.
Toxic relationship. What is it going to be like now with Sean Dyche? How are you feeling?
It's been a tricky little start for Sean. I don't think it's been easy, but with Steve Stone and Ian Warren beside him, I think they're three former Forest players. It's a Forest nucleus, and I think it's promising, to be honest.
Well,
one thing...
Sorry,
go
ahead, Neil.
No, one thing that Sean Dyche will definitely want to tighten up is this conceding from set pieces. I know this is your specialty, Leroy, because they have conceded 16. We saw them concede yet another at the weekend. It was very controversial, that goal that they conceded from Manchester United. Leroy, what will Sean Dyche need to do?
Well, firstly, he's got to get the referees not to give corners when they're not corners. That's the first thing he needs to do, Scott. Well, it is, Scott, isn't it? But secondly, it's something that Sean Dyche, you expect Sean Dyche to sort out going forward, Scott?
I think he will. Sean Dyche plays a defensive, low block, and we'll come back to a traditional Forest counter-attack, but you've got to get the basics right first. You've got to not concede goals, and I think that's where they'll all be focusing this next couple of weeks. They've got a rough run of games. They've got Sturm Graz this Thursday, then Leeds on Sunday. And then after the international break, they've got Liverpool, Malmo, Brighton, and then Wolves by the 3rd of December. So it's a busy time of season.
Do you know what, Scott? It's really fun. I was just thinking there, we get loads of fans coming on and saying, "Oh, the football's boring. You know, we want more excitement." I think Forest fans are saying the football is too exciting. We want more boredom. We want to be more pragmatic going forward. Is that where you are? More pragmaticity, if that's a word?
Pragmatism.
Pragmatism.
Yeah. I'm still happy. I'm still happy with the way that Forest play. They are an exciting team, and they're good on the counter. That's been their bread and butter for years.
And just talking about players stepping up, Morgan Gibbs-White at the weekend had a good game. How do you get the best out of him? I guess the levels that we were seeing last season, Scott.
Well, that connection that Morgan Gibbs-White has got with Elliot Anderson is phenomenal. They both work off each other really, really well. And Morgan Gibbs-White supports the forwards. Unfortunately, Chris Woods isn't there with him, and I think there's some learning going on there between them all too. OK, well, thank you so much for joining us, Scott. I hope the game that you go to is calm, as Leroy said. It's boring. You know, a 1-0 win. Sean Dyche, straight out the textbook. That would be nice.
And talking about books, I was just looking in the dictionary, Scott, and pragmaticity is a word. It's definitely a word.
Yeah, only on a Monday fan zone. OK.
Spell that. Pragmaticity. OK?
Oh, Scott, thank you so much for joining us. Take care. There you have it, Scott, Forest fan.
For me, sort of watching and playing a little part in it, if I was playing in the 5, I would say that's probably the benefits of it, that you can have 5 on the last line and also defend with 5.
I think what you're talking about as well, we see a lot of teams get 5 on the last line. Everybody does, and that's the way, and it's just different systems can get you that. I think the problem with this system is that when you think about wing-backs, and think about the weekend, Amad, he's been getting questioned, he got caught out at the back post. But as a wing-back, you're asked to be a full-back defensively, so Amad's has to be here and defend crosses at the back post. He got done by Gibbs-White, but then when he gets up here, he's asked to be a winger. Now, he is more of a winger. He's probably more suited to that position. But then Diallo's the opposite, where he may be able to deal with that better. But when he gets on the last line and they actually get the ball to Diallo, he can't beat a man. He's not going to play a clever pass. He's not going to get a cross in. So for me, that's a little bit of the downfall in terms of getting 5 on the last line, is whether these players have the quality. When you think of the other teams in the league, they'll still get the same numbers. But if that's Manchester City, that's Doku with the ball. It might be Phil Foden. You know, so it's a completely different profile.
Well, then it's about the personnel within the system. Then it's a bit like you were talking before from the Ipswich game with De Ligt. Does he really want to be receiving the ball ways back to play as a centre back from the goalkeeper? So it's about the personnel then in that system, and you can talk about Amad getting done at the back post, but he might be back in that position anyway as a winger, filling in if you were playing 4.
Johnny, could I ask you then, I'm just thinking about the fact that you've been as a young player coming through Manchester United, you know the traditions of the club as well as anybody. This system for me doesn't feel right for Manchester United, as in like the history of the club. I think of wingers. I'm talking about Diallo receiving the ball in this position. That's Ryan Giggs. That's going back even for that's George Best, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
How would you feel as a Manchester United man in terms of this system going forward for the club, and whether you think of the players you played alongside as well?
I think as long as it's working, I think certainly in terms of supporters, people involved with the club, people just want to see the club being successful, and if they feel that this can be the best way to do that, they'll 100% get behind it, and you can see that with the fans. You get behind the manager.
I mean, Manchester United are probably on one of the best runs they've been on with Ruben Amorim right now. I think it's 4 unbeaten. But what would success look like for Ruben Amorim and Manchester United this season?
Definitely think qualifying for Europe, but I think they'll be pushing for Champions League. I think now that you're sort of looking at it, I think they probably feel like they maybe get a little sniff of that.
Do you still feel it's going to take more transfer windows to get the pieces that Ruben Amorim really needs to make this work?
I'm sure he's looking at it going, we'll sign well in the summer. I hope the club back me again, whether that's January, whether they can do that or not. But going into the summer for the next season, he'll be looking at it.
Sorry, Johnny, how vital is Bruno to all this, do you think?
People are questioning why Bruno's playing in a deeper role, but he's kind of in those inside positions, probably doesn't suit. They're probably like inverted wingers, aren't they, playing in those sort of 10 positions? I think here gives him a little bit more you miss his creativity, I suppose, towards the edge of the box, but the manager certainly gives him license that when the team get higher up, Casemiro in this team will sit and Bruno will be able to join the attack.
Bruno Fernandes plays there because he's probably the only central midfielder they've got. I know he's not a proper central midfielder.